So let's talk about what books I want to make a priority for the first week of February for Polarthon. Now this was created and is hosted by Jade from Jadyraereads. I'll have her channel listed below. I'll also try to find the 4 hosts for who will be hosting each team, as it is divided into teams. Everyone has to read a polar fantasy. That's the innermost circle with the graphic that was created, and then you have Team Walrus, Team Penguin, Team Polar Bear, and Team Arctic Fox. And then each of those 4 teams obviously has a different host, and then there's a big outer circle that goes around, and each team has 4 prompts. You can double up, so you can have 1 prompt from the outer circle with polar fantasy, so that would be 1 book. So you can read a minimum of 3 books to a maximum of obviously 5, 1 for each prompt. Obviously, this is done within a week, so even if you don't get 3 books read, that's fine. If you only get 1 book or half a book, whatever you get read, at least you tried and participated. So the host for Team Arctic Fox is Sasha from the Wild Sasha. The host for the Walrus is Gavin from How to Train Your Gavin. The host for Team Penguin is Mollie from Mind of Mollie. And then the team host or team leader, I guess is what they're actually being called, for Team Polar Bear is Erin from Booked and Busy. Again, I will try to have all their channels listed below so that you can check them out if you would like. So I am going to be on Team Polar Bear. That is because I thought the Polar Bear and the Arctic Fox were the cutest little mascots out of the 4. And when looking at the prompts for Arctic Fox and Polar Bear, I was able to, I was starting to get a little anxious with 1 or 2 of the prompts on Team Arctic Fox because I had trouble finding a book that would fit 1 or 2 of the prompts, but I did not have that issue with Team Polar Bear. So that's what tipped the scale in favor for Team Polar Bear for me. So let me tell you what I'm going to be reading for each of the prompts. For the polar fantasy, I struggled with kind of understanding what a polar fantasy is. If someone were to ask me, I still couldn't tell you, but I would refer you to Jadyraereads' channel. It is her favorite genre. She has a video out of books that are polar fantasy books, so that'll definitely give you an idea of what to look for. One of the books on her polar fantasy video recommendations, or books that are polar fantasies, I actually own, and so I thought that's great. 1, I want to read it. 2, since she's saying it counts as a polar fantasy, I'm going to read it for this, and that is The House with Chicken Legs, and this is by Sophie Anderson. So this one is it is a middle grade, and you're following Marinka, and she really wants to have a normal life. She wants living friends. She wants to be able to go and do what she wants. But she lives right now. She lives with her grandma, who is the Baba Yaga. Yeah, Baba Yaga. And basically what her grandma does is she helps people that have died. She helps their spirits pass from one world to the next, basically through what's called the gate. And Marinka is supposed to be learning how to replace her grandma at some point. So Marinka will be the next kind of Baba Yaga type person, helping people through to the next phase of their existence. So she's kind of struggling with that. She respects what her grandmother does, but she wants to have her own life. So we're going to watch that. And the house just grows chicken legs to where there's more people that need more help at that time, and it just goes all around the world. Okay, so that prompt, the polar fantasy, is the one right smack in the center. That's the one everyone that needs to read, is the polar fantasy. Now I'm going to talk about the prompts that are on the outer circle of the wheel that Jade has created, and tell you what books I will be reading for those prompts. I am aiming for 5 books, hoping for 3. That I'll get at least 3 of them in, but if I only get 1, that's fine, because I know I can definitely get the 1 in. The House with the Chicken Legs. That's what I'm starting the month off with. So let's go ahead and get in. So one of the prompts on the outer circle is a book with a white cover. For that, I'm going to be reading American Street by E.B. Zaboy. I read Pride by E.B. Zaboy, loved the writing, so I picked up this book. So I am very excited to get to this one. So this one we're following Fabiola. Her and her mother are immigrating to the United States from Haiti. Now, unfortunately, Fabiola's mother gets held up in U.S. immigration. So Haiti has to go and live with her loud cousins. She's having to deal with that while she tries to learn and navigate through American customs and life, so to speak. So we're dealing with that. So this will be a kind of a hard-hitting topic, but I think it'll be very good, and I look forward to see how Ibizaboy talks about this issue. The next prompt I'm going to talk about is to read a book that has a cold word. This could be ice, it could be frozen, it could be cold, it could just something that gives you cold vibes. So for that, I am going with The Coldest Winter Ever by Sister Sulja. So this one, so obviously cold is in the title, so it definitely counts for that. But this one you're following, what was her name? Her name is actually Winter. So I've got two cold words in this book. But Winter is the main character. It says that she lives in a ghetto. She's dealing with, she is wealthy. She's in Brooklyn. And her family is a drug dealing family. So she's navigating through that life. Things start to happen that starts to pull her life in one direction when she really wants it to go in the other direction. So we're following as she navigates between that and makes decisions to try and make the best life possible that she can for herself. And the next prompt is cozy vibes. So this is just something that gives you cozy vibes, whether it's a book, it's a particular genre, so a book in a particular genre that gives you cozy vibes, certain words, just something about it gives you cozy vibes. It could even be sitting down and reading with a cup of hot chocolate, or if you prefer coffee or hot tea, that too, cuddling up under a blanket by a fire, anything like that, just something that gives you cozy vibes. So for that, I am going with the book, and that is A Splendid Ruin by Megan Chance. This is like a thriller, and that's what gives me cozy vibes, are the darker thriller, mystery, suspense, paranormal books. So that's why I'm going with this one. This one we are following May. She is dealing with the death of her mother. Her aunt summons her to the family home in San Francisco. While May is there, things start to happen. Dark secrets start to come to the surface. And one of the maids that works for the family starts whispering to May that she needs to leave the house as soon as possible because she is not safe. So it'll be interesting to see what is putting her at risk. And the last prompt that the polar bears have on their outer wheel is to read a book containing a journey. Now, please keep in mind as well, I know I did not mention this, but I will mention it now. The prompts on the outer wheels do not need to be a polar fantasy, though they can be any book that fits that prompt, which I don't think none of my other books are polar fantasy. So just the one that I'm reading for the Central that everyone has to read is a polar fantasy. So the last book is a journey. So a book that has a journey in it. For that, I would like to read The Two Towers by J.R.R. Tolkien. This is part 2 of the Lord of the Rings series. This one, it's Frodo. I have so many names bouncing in my head. I forgot Frodo's name. So we're just following. It's a continuation of his journey from book number 1. As he has this ring and people are out to get him because he has the ring, and the ring has magical abilities, and so he needs to take it to a place where it can be destroyed in order to save humanity type of a thing. So this is just a continuation of that journey. So whether or not I get to read this in the Polar Fantasy Polar-a-thon week, if I don't get to it, then I will still try to read it in the month of February. I do want to continue this series. So these are the books that I am planning to read for Polar-a-thon. As you can see, I have the bookmark in this one because I am filming this one on February 1st. So Polar-a-thon has already started, so I have started The House with the Chicken Legs already. And as of right now, as of filming this in the afternoon, I'm only on page 39. But I have a quiet evening ahead, so I will get a lot of reading in, which I am looking forward to that. So let me know what team you will be on if you are participating in Polarthon. And you can either just type it out or maybe leave if you're on Team Polar Bear. I know there's no polar bear little icon or emoji, but there is the face of a brown bear, so you can definitely leave that. I'm not sure if there's a penguin, a fox, or a walrus emoji. I've never looked for those. So, I don't know, but let me know what team you will be rooting for and reading for if you are participating. And until next time, stay true to yourself and enjoy a good book, and I will talk to you later.